Welcome back to Football Attention. Today we are talking about the Mark Guehi transfer saga and the possibility of him moving to Liverpool in the January transfer window. The January transfer window has arrived with a singular question dominating conversation at Anfield. Will Liverpool finally secure Mark Guehi? The Crystal Palace captain has emerged as the Reds' primary defensive target, yet the path to securing the England international remains complicated by contractual realities, financial calculations, and the conflicting interests of multiple parties. To understand why Guehi matters so much to Liverpool, one must first grasp the severity of the club's defensive crisis. Virgil van Dijk, now in his mid-30s, remains the only truly commanding presence at centre-back. Ibrahima Konate continues to fluctuate between impressive displays and concerning lapses in concentration. Joe Gomez's recurring fitness issues present an ongoing concern. The injury situation has become so precarious that should another senior defender fall to injury, Liverpool faces the alarming prospect of deploying out-of-position players in defence. This vulnerability arrived at the worst possible moment. Liverpool spent a record £446.5 million in the summer transfer window, signing young players, many in their early 20s, designed for long-term success rather than immediate impact. Yet the squad's defensive architecture was barely touched, with mainly outgoing in this area. Recent performances tell the story. Despite collecting back-to-back wins against Brighton and Wolves, Liverpool's defensive performances have frequently lacked conviction. Against Brighton, the Reds created more than their opponents and finished stronger, yet they were far from imperious. Earlier draws against Sunderland and Leeds exposed vulnerabilities that cannot be ignored. The departure of set-piece coach Aaron Biggs with no replacement compounds these concerns, and looks as if he was released to take some pressure off the head coach. Training sessions have reportedly seen 60 defensive routines practiced with not a single goal conceded, yet match situations reveal continued vulnerability from set pieces. Often players look confused and unorganised. Considering the trend towards a high percentage of goals through the league coming from set plays, this shows a real lapse from the Reds' hierarchy. For Liverpool's hierarchy, the solution appears straightforward: acquire a world-class centre-back immediately. The question is whether they will act on that instinct. Crystal Palace's situation presents a genuine paradox. The South London club possesses a player of elite quality in Guehi, yet selling him mid-season would represent an act of self-sabotage with far-reaching consequences. Palace currently have high hopes of winning the Conference League, which comes with European qualification for next season. Having gained, but missed out on, Europa League qualification this year due to a technicality, Guehi is absolutely central to this ambition. He is the club's captain, their most commanding defender, and a leader whose presence stabilises a team that has experienced considerable turnover in recent years. The continual departures of Wilfried Zaha, Michael Olise, and other talented players have weakened Palace's competitive standing. Losing Guehi mid-season would represent another significant step backward at a moment when the club is attempting to move forward. Manager Oliver Glasner offered a measured statement before the window opened: "I think Mark will stay until the end of the season." Yet this pronouncement carries limited weight. From a financial perspective, Palace faces an equally complex calculation. Guehi's contract expires in June 2026, meaning he is in the final 6 months of his deal. The gap between a January sale and a summer departure on free transfer terms is the difference between significant revenue and nothing. Most clubs would presumably prefer to extract some compensation rather than allow a player to leave for nothing. Yet if Palace demands a premium fee, reports suggest figures of £40 million have been discussed, they price themselves out of the market entirely. Liverpool, despite their urgency, are unlikely to commit such resources when the possibility of acquiring Guehi for nothing in the summer remains viable. For Palace, this creates an impossible negotiation: demand too much and no buyer emerges, accept a reasonable fee and lose their best defender mid-season. According to David Ornstein of The Athletic, Liverpool identified Guehi as a market opportunity and initial dialogue took place with Palace. Notice he said took place, past tense, not is taking place. Although the situation has not advanced significantly, the ball is in Palace's court. If they do not want to lose Guehi as a free agent, given he has no intention of renewing a contract scheduled to expire in June 2026, they will need to sanction the captain's sale. The most realistic scenario for Palace is that Guehi remains at the club through January, with the understanding that he will leave in the summer regardless of his contractual status. This approach preserves their hopes of a successful second half to the season, while accepting the financial reality of an inevitable departure. Liverpool's position is equally complicated, though from a different angle. The club has operated under FSG ownership using a strict sell-to-buy model. This summer, Liverpool broke that pattern dramatically, spending considerably more than they earned from player sales. The squad has been strengthened with significant additions, yet the defensive injuries have negated much of that strengthening. The fundamental question facing Richard Hughes and Liverpool's recruitment team is whether acquiring Guehi in January represents value for money or merely crisis management masquerading as strategy. Reports indicate that Liverpool made serious attempts to sign Guehi during the summer window, only to find Palace immovable in their resistance. That experience suggests the club understands the complexity of the negotiation. Multiple sources suggest that Liverpool's internal preference is to wait for a summer transfer on free agent terms. This would represent considerable financial savings, allowing resources to be deployed elsewhere in the squad. However, this calculation rests on assumptions that may not hold, that Guehi remains available and wants a move to Liverpool, and that no other club secures his signature before the summer transfer window. Wages offered at Bayern Munich or Real Madrid are likely to be much higher than Liverpool would offer. Yet there exists a third option gaining credence in recent discussions, using Federico Chiesa as a financial lever. The Italian winger has fallen out of favour under Ancelotti, accumulating minimal minutes despite previous claims that he would receive significant opportunities. Reports suggest Juventus are interested in Chiesa on loan, with potential permanent arrangements possible. If Liverpool could facilitate Chiesa's departure, potentially generating £15 to £20 million in loan fees or permanent transfer revenue, that could provide the financial ammunition to pursue Guehi more aggressively. James Pearce of The Athletic reported, Liverpool held talks with Palace over a possible deal for Guehi, but the two clubs remain some distance apart in their valuations. Further discussions are expected this week. Perhaps most intriguingly, available information provides subtle insight into Guehi's own thinking. In an interview from August 2025, when asked whether he considers himself sociable, Guehi revealed something striking. Most of his friends are in different countries or live in Manchester or Liverpool. This casual revelation, made without apparent consciousness of its deeper implications, suggests that the Northwest possesses personal significance for him. For a player who has spent his entire professional career in London, playing for Crystal Palace, this comment is remarkable. It suggests that geographic preferences may influence his decision-making alongside purely sporting considerations. Whether these personal connections prove sufficiently compelling to override the appeal of Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, or other elite European clubs remains uncertain, but they cannot be entirely discounted. In another revealing moment, Guehi discussed how he maintained his focus throughout the summer's uncertainty. I think everyone has this perception and idea that it was difficult. It actually wasn't difficult at all, because when you're focused on what's the most important thing, it becomes easy. I know that God has a plan for me, and whatever that plan will come into fruition at some point. But the goal and the focus has always been playing football and trying to do that the best I can. Guehi appears to stand at a pivotal career juncture. At 24, he is experienced enough to have established himself as an elite Premier League defender, yet young enough that he possesses numerous chapters still to write. His FA Cup winning experience with Palace, his England recognition, and his proven ability to maintain standards despite significant player turnover all position him as a genuinely elite prospect. Liverpool will be keen to secure his signature to spearhead an overhaul of the central defence, but at the end of the day, it may be the player who has the loudest say. For Guehi, it is possible he says yes, but not yet. Joining Liverpool would offer the opportunity to compete for major trophies immediately, no matter when he joins. The Reds remain genuine perennial title contenders and have demonstrated their capacity to compete in the Champions League. Contributing to Liverpool's resurgence could define his trajectory as a player. Yet the appeal of testing himself in La Liga or the Bundesliga, particularly at clubs with great European pedigree, clearly possesses counter-attractions. Liverpool's challenge is complicated by intense competition for Guehi's signature. Real Madrid, despite internal divisions regarding a potential move, remains a possibility if their defensive situation deteriorates further. Guehi has fellow England internationals Jude Bellingham and Trent Alexander-Arnold at the Bernabeu, making the shift to Madrid a little less daunting than it otherwise may be. Bayern Munich has expressed clear interest. viewing Guehi as a solution to their long-standing centre-back challenges. Once again, fellow England internationals playing for the Bavarians would make Munich a desirable destination. Manchester City, arguably Liverpool's closest domestic rival, has also been linked. Critically, from January 1st onwards, clubs outside the Premier League can formally enter into pre-contract negotiations with Guehi, allowing direct courtship without Palace's involvement. This represents a fundamental shift in dynamics. For 5 months, Liverpool cannot match the direct negotiations that continental clubs can offer. A player uncertain about his future can engage in detailed discussions with Real Madrid or Bayern without Liverpool's participation. However, Liverpool possesses advantages that shouldn't be understated. The club's project under Arne Slot is still compelling, with the manager having proven his credentials by winning the Premier League. The prospect of playing alongside Van Dijk in a defence that could be fundamentally stabilised with adequate centre-back support carries genuine appeal. Moreover, Anfield's historical significance and Liverpool's recent resurgence and position as one of the top destinations in Europe represent powerful draws. The central tension in this saga revolves around affordability and timing. Palace would demand significant compensation for a mid-season departure, likely £40 million. This represents a considerable outlay for Liverpool when the possibility exists of acquiring Guehi for nothing in summer. Yet the consensus from analyst commentary suggests this calculation may underestimate Liverpool's genuine desperation. The club's defensive crisis is not theoretical. It is immediate and potentially catastrophic. Every week that passes with only 2 senior centre-backs available increases the risk of season-defining injury or collapse. If Liverpool's hierarchy genuinely believes that addressing this position in January could preserve their season, the investment becomes justifiable. According to the content analysed, Liverpool's net spend over the summer and previous year is actually quite reasonable when examined in detail. While the gross outlay of £446.5 million appears astronomical, the net spend was lower than Arsenal's when sales are considered. Mark McAdam noted, "They didn't get it wrong. I think you look at the contracts they dished out to the players. 4, 5, 6 years. It's a long-term plan, a long-term project. And I think that's the key thing. They are trying to build a team that can compete for many, many years to come." The Chiesa option provides potential financial lubrication. If the winger can be moved, ideally to Juventus, that could generate £15 to £20 million in immediate revenue. Combined with potential outgoings of other squad players and the club's existing resources, this could facilitate a Guehi move without breaching financial parameters. The consensus from informed analysis suggests that a January transfer remains unlikely, though not impossible. Most expert opinion suggests Guehi will remain at Crystal Palace through the remainder of the season, with Liverpool positioning themselves for a summer free agent approach. This would allow Palace to maintain their squad integrity while pursuing their Conference League ambitions, would allow Liverpool to avoid a significant financial expenditure, and would allow Guehi to assess all available options before making a decision. However, this consensus carries risk. Should Liverpool's season deteriorate, should key players sustain injuries, should Real Madrid or Bayern make aggressive moves, the calculus could change rapidly. The Reds have demonstrated in previous transfer windows, most notably with Luis Diaz and Hugo Ekitike, that they can move decisively at the 11th hour when circumstances demand. The Guehi saga encapsulates the broader challenge facing Liverpool, balancing urgent defensive needs against financial prudence, competing with elite European clubs for world-class talent, and attempting to maintain title-challenging form despite ongoing vulnerabilities. As one analyst stated, the answer to whether Guehi becomes a Liverpool player likely depends less on Liverpool's desires than on the unfolding events of the coming weeks, injuries, results, and the complex negotiations between multiple parties with competing interests. Thanks for joining us today on Football Attention. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe to our channel. If you made it this far in the video, why not leave a one-word comment with your favorite Liverpool player of all time, and we will see you in the next video.